Hey, my friends, Gary McGowan here, and I'm here live, well, via Zoom with my good friend, Dion Beg, mortgage extraordinaire. And what I love about Dion is he's always asking us, the realtors, the question, how can we help you, our clients? And Dion, that's what we have you here for today. And for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years since I've known Dion, first of all, you should say hi to everybody.
Hey everybody, happy to be here. Thanks,
What I
Gary.
love, yeah, what I love about Dion is he's always been asking these questions, and we're going to talk about that. And Dion, when you sit down with clients, what is the one thing you love to ask them?
I like to figure out what is their financial plan, what is their financial future, and really how are they going about answering the big three financial questions. So as much as we work in the world of mortgages, my background is that I was a financial planner. And what we now do is we effectively put together, I guess, financial plans using real estate as the tool to achieve those big three financial questions that most families have.
Okay, so you touched on it very briefly. Big three financial questions, and I know people are racking their brain. What could that be? What could that be? But really, it boils down to this. Like, what is it, Dion?
Yeah, sure. So like when people think about financial planning, it can be very complicated and overwhelming. But I figure if you can just put it into these three categories, it makes things simpler, right? So the three categories that we keep coming across for the last couple of decades now, that's how old I am, is, how do I pay off my debt? How do I set up my children? And how do I set up my own retirement? And if you can effectively just put it into those three buckets and say, how do we solve these three problems? It kind of simplifies financial planning.
I love it. I love it. Like you said, simplifies it. And I can already figure out where a lot of people went to. That's great. I love it. However, I don't have this, or I'm not knowledgeable in this, or I don't have the equity or the funds. Help us out with that conversation.
Yeah, so I mean, every week we speak to people who come to us feeling this way. I don't have the income to do this. I don't have the cash in the bank to do this, and I don't have the equity. And every week we end up surprising people with the reality that what you thought to be true is in fact actually incorrect. And what that means for you is you can actually roll out these plans. There are ways to get debt free, not in 20 or 30 years, but in 10 years. There are ways to retire comfortably, not just with an extra 100 grand, but an extra million or $2 million. And I love having those conversations. I love seeing or hearing those light bulbs get turned on, and people getting excited that, oh, something that a lot of people feel like they're spectators in the world of property investing, and they're forever going to be on the sidelines. And every week we show people, no, you don't have to be a spectator. You can actually get on the playing field. We can help you achieve your financial goals. Yes, it's unconventional. No, your regular financial planner probably won't be talking to you about these things, but it's a method which is tried and proven. And it's in a product of real estate, where if anybody was to really ask themselves this question really seriously and say, where in the world have I made the most money in my world? Most everybody would say it's in the property that they own. And if that's the answer, then the question that we follow up with is, well, why do you only own one? And let us show you how whatever gains you've had, $500,000 in 5 years, that's fantastic. But let us show you how you could have tripled it. We can't look back in regret. We can only look forward at the opportunities that are there. So that's really what we're going to be talking about at this event.
I love it. I love it. And a little story to go along with that. I remember about 15 years ago, and I've shared this with you too, Dion. My father had mentioned to me almost in passing, the only time I've ever really, really made wealth is in real estate. Well, fast forward 15 years later, I made sure I was not only was in the industry, but as Dion eloquently said, not a spectator. I was actually in the game and investing in real estate. I've often heard you also kind of say, Dion, and many of you know I live in the Toronto area and the GTA, and so have you. You've got roots here. As the GTA and owners in the GTA or people in the GTA being the lottery winners. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always funny, and ask yourself this question. If you were to win the lottery, everybody says, if I won the lottery, I'd look after myself, but of course I'd look after my family, right? And my message that I'm trying to tell any homeowner who's owned a property for more than 10 years is, guess what? You won the lottery, right? And a lot of my clients, maybe in their 50s, and they say, my job as a parent was to get my kids a good schooling, and then put them off into higher education, pay for them while they stay to college. But now it's up to them to get a good job and go from there. And that's enough. I've done my job as a parent. I'm sorry to say that in the real estate market that your children are entering, that's likely not going to be enough. In that you're going to need to be in a position where you can write your children a check, not for like 50 grand, but probably for $100,000 to $200,000, if you want for them the life that you live, which is a nice house in the suburbs where you could raise your family, or where they could raise their family. And, I'm not a doomsdayer, but I'm a bit of a realist. And I've been saying this for many years. Like, if you want to see where the real estate market in Toronto or the GTA is going, just look south, just jump on a plane and fly to New York City and ask yourself, who owns these properties? And it's not people who just entered today. It's people who were the recipients of some intergenerational wealth. So a lot of what we do is show people that they can, in fact, set themselves up and their children for that future. And so, yes, you won the lottery, but now you've got to do something with it.
Yeah, I like how you phrase that. And of course, as we are in this type of market that we've been in the last 12, 18 months or so, a lot of people say, well, perhaps, are we at the top? Should I wait? What should I do? As a realtor, I get that question all the time. As a mortgage broker, what do you say to that?
Well, the answer is I don't know. But what I do know is this, that question has been raised nearly every single year that I've been in this business. And I know, Gary, you've got the same magazine covers that say the impending crash is coming. And in every instance, at least for the last 13 years, they've been wrong in almost every instance, right? So what I'd want you to all think about is this. The growth that we have experienced in the last 18 months has been in the face and in spite of low immigration. The country of Canada and the region of the Golden Horseshoe, that whole region is one which really thrives on immigration. If we've had this type of growth with limited to no immigration, what's going to happen when things come back to normal? It just comes down to economics and supply and demand. And, outside of COVID, name for me one other region in North America, not just Canada, but North America, where more than 100,000, 150,000 people move every single year, right? That's Toronto, that's the GTA, that's the Golden Horseshoe. And actually, it's interesting to note that range is expanding given COVID, given that people can work a little bit further out. You've seen what I've seen, Gary, people taking the opportunity to move to bigger properties outside. And what that means is immigrants, in my opinion, who come and land in a new country like to be close to the core. And it's kind of like this ever-growing cycle. So I'm excited to see what the new year brings.
Yeah, awesome. And at our event that's coming up the next week or so, what's your goal for that event in terms of what do you want people to go away with? What information and how do you want to inspire them in a sense?
It's really just this idea that, if real estate and investing in real estate sounds a little scary, sounds a little complicated, I'd like them to leave knowing that, okay, there are things to be concerned about, but there are ways to deal with those concerns. Like with anything in life, it's about risk and risk mitigation. And I hope that they can come to this event and at the end of it, leave going, okay, what I thought was scary can be managed. What I thought was impossible is in fact possible. And then after the event, of course, we're going to make it available for all of the people who attend to have a private one-on-one consultation where we can figure out their exact financial situation and in 15 to 20 minutes, tell them what is possible for them and show them how that future may be possible for them, that $1 million future.
Love it. I love it. And I got to sit here and tell people I'm a product of taking action, 15 years ago, in a sense, when my father said, let's invest in real estate. It's now, and as Dion is experiencing in his own life too, we now get to celebrate some of those fruits of those early labors and see a great future for not only our family, but for those around us. So yeah, coming up on November 30th, we have an amazing event with Dion. He's going to be hosting it and walking us through everything that we talked about and making sure that we have answers or a vision for those big three questions. So Dion, thanks for hosting this. And I'm looking forward to everyone getting lots out of it and of course, making some great connections and creating an opportunity for themselves. Thanks, my friend.
For sure. Thank you, Gary.